I'm sure there are some games out there which you'd love to play, but never got around to doing so. Maybe it's because you didn't have time, you have your hobbies, your work, your family, or maybe it's because you don't want to get a heart attack when a monster jumps out at you in the middle of the night. Trust me, I completely understand, and while I can't help you with your heart because I'm not a heart surgeon, I can at least tell you the story of your favorite games, so the next time they come up in a conversation with your buddies during a beer, you can pretend that you played them and that you're cool. Today we will be looking at a horror game classic. Obviously this video is going to be chock full of spoilers, but without any further ado, let's get into Amnesia: The Dark Descent, summed up in 10 minutes or less. The year is 1839 and you wake up in a castle as Daniel, not remembering anything. Not the first time this happened. You follow a trail of pink liquid goo to find a note hidden in a room behind a bookshelf. As it turns out, this note was actually written by you just before you chose to drink an amnesia potion to forget something horrible that happened in your past. This note informs you that you should find a dude called Alexander and that you should kill him because he's a bad person, I guess. Also, there is some sort of darkness chasing you, but luckily, even when you had all of your memories, you were great at the pronoun game, so you won't know what it is. Now you set out to explore the castle and you find a bunch of hallways and a bunch of larger hallways, and eventually you run into a hallway which is covered by goo that is not allowing you to pass through it. Now from the hall that you're currently in, there are multiple ways to go, so you choose to explore all of them, eventually gathering all the ingredients you need to make strong acid which could hopefully dissolve the goo. Being the skilled craftsman that you are, you manage to create the acid no problem, and you dissolve the goo and make your way over to the refinery. You dodge the monster that is skulking around and enter the cellar archives, which immediately fill up with knee-high water as soon as you enter. Unfortunately, you are not alone in there, and as you will immediately notice, there is an invisible monster skulking around the rooms in the water. You can only hear him because of the splashing. You make your way through as if though playing some twisted version of Floor's Lava, and after an insanely intense chase sequence, you finally make your way to the black hole. Now this is a place where you're going to be spending a bunch of time, as it is another area that links to multiple areas and you're going to be passing through it more than once. From the note previously, you learned that Alexander is hiding in the inner sanctum, which is supposed to be a chamber in the castle located somewhere far below. Now to get there, you need to use an elevator, but of course it doesn't work, and the machine room where the machine that powers the elevator should be is locked as well. You go through multiple places looking for the key and surprisingly find it pretty easily. You make your way back to the machine room and after assembling a bunch of annoying puzzles, get the elevator working. Now of course everything goes bad as soon as you enter and the elevator falls down, resulting in you being down in the prison. Now this area is very dark and very scary with a lot of enemies in it, but you walk around for a while collecting resources and in the end find a hole at the bottom of one of the cells which you can crawl through and continue going. Just as you thought that was done, you realize you've only entered another block of the prison ward. So you pretty much rinse and repeat the whole thing, and after another chase sequence, you end up in the cistern. Now Daniel recalls Alexander telling him that they used sewers, which connect to the cistern, as a means of transportation. However, during that time of the year, they are filled with poisonous fungi. And if that wasn't bad enough, they're also flooded all the way to the ceiling. The first order of business is to lower the water. You go around touching a bunch of valves and surprisingly, without any major complications, you manage to lower the water level. The poison fungi is going to be a bigger problem though, so you make your way to a morgue where you find a dead body of a dude who apparently has the vaccine in his blood already and he died from some other cause. Now you need to get the blood from his body somehow into your body, so you can imagine that what happens next is kind of disgusting. You choose to drill into his head of all places, and then stick yourself with a needle of his own blood. After that, you are magically immune immediately, and you can make your way through the sewers. In the sewers, your path is going to be jammed by a bunch of rotating blades, but luckily you can slow them down using a nearby motor, and then get them jammed using a metal pipe. After sneaking through and getting around a bunch of monsters, you get into another chase, and then end up in the nave. Now if you still remember like 2 minutes ago when I mentioned the black hole, the nave is going to be very similar. It's an area that connects to many other areas and you'll be passing through it a lot. Here you also find a paralyzed dude chained to a cross type of device, and after hooking up a machine that allows him to talk, you learn that this is Agrippa. This would also probably be a good time to explain why the shadow is actually hunting Daniel. See, back a few years ago, Daniel went onto an archaeological expedition somewhere into Africa, and after a pathway collapsed behind him in an ancient temple, he had a vision of an ancient and glowing orb. When the excavators found him a few hours later, he was grasping that said orb, and as soon as he took it home with himself, he realized that it is the orb which is drawing the darkness near to him and that he has indeed been cursed. He decided to seek out the help of Alexander, the owner of the very castle you are traversing right now, who said he would be able to provide him with some help. And Alexander reveals to you that the only way to slow the shadow's progress is to extract the material called vitae. This is something that you get by torturing people and then extracting their blood. Daniel immediately follows this without any real questioning, but after a while kind of gets disturbed with what he's been doing and decides to drink the amnesia potion. Now back in present day, the chain dude Agrippa tells you that in order to be able to kill Alexander, who is in the inner sanctum, you're going to need all of the orb's pieces because it has unfortunately shattered. Now there are 6 of these scattered all around, and you should be able to collect them in order to fight Alexander. He also asks you to create a sort of tonic for him that would do something, or rather to help him, because he's kind of immortal because of some weird experiments. Now this is obviously a choice you can do, and Amnesia is a game with multiple endings, so you can choose to simply not create the tonic, but for this instance, we're gonna go with the instance where you choose to make it. Now you make your way into the transept where you investigate different torture devices, and close to each of them, you find the orb pieces as they have been used when extracting the vitae during torture. From there, you'll make your way to the choir, also known as the worst area in the game. It has a lot of monsters, it is dark, and it has a lot of torture devices which we will explore to collect the remaining orb pieces. This is also where you will find some of the ingredients for the tonic for Agrippa. You return back to the Navy, and from there you go to the chancel only to be ambushed by a bunch of monsters and thrown into a cell. Now if you choose to, you can just wait in the cell and actually get an ending, but obviously we try to escape. You break your way through the wall and run back to Nave and to Agrippa, where you mix his tonic up in the laboratory, after which he asks you to cut off his head, which you do, and then you bring it with you. Finally making your way through the chancel towards the inner sanctum, you assemble the orb and descend down into the final chamber to fight Alexander, who you've learned is not actually human, but is some sort of a being from another dimension who's only been prolonging his life here on Earth. There are 3 different endings you can get, and of course I'm going to spoil all 3 of them for you. Alexander is trying to open some sort of portal here, so you can simply knock down a bunch of the columns he's been using, the portal fails, and Alexander dies or something. You can also do absolutely nothing and have him create a portal, escape, and you dying by the shadow. But of course, you only want the good ending, in which you wait a little bit for him to start doing the ritual and only then use Agrippa's head on the portal, which results in the ritual being completed, and then some weird stuff with voices in the darkness that no one really understands. But anyways, you have just completed Amnesia, The Dark Descent, and now you can join any discussion and pretend that you beat it and weren't scared even for a minute. That is it for me. Thank you so much for watching. Hope you enjoyed. If you did, make sure to check back in for more, and I'll make sure to do more. I wish you all a beautiful rest of the day, and I'm gonna see you all in whatever next video I make. Bye bye.